Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is the same game with M1keyD, and we're just having a situation here where I was talking about moving here, say in this position, and I went for here. The problem with this spot, so this is another principle I'm going to actually say. I don't know what it's called actually, but this is one, either it's got a name or I'm going to give it a name, but these two here are undefended. So that means a bigger piece, like a rook or a queen, can come down and trade. So unless we can trade for this piece, we're going to be in trouble. So we're going to be down in material. So, and he does that. So he sees it, and this is like in the end game, you can get this a lot where the two bishops or two knights will be side by side, or even two pawns will be side by side, and then the rook could just go up against it and attack. It's weak side, well, non-attacking side. So the bishop's diagonal, so they can attack from there. Yeah, so having two pieces side by side is no good, especially undefended. Do not do it, okay? Because this is devastating. And even in the end game too. So in the end game it can happen a lot as well, because you have a lot of open boards and no pawns and a lot less pieces on the board. So you'll be more prone to these positions in the end game. So please, none of this. So when we go back into this spot, we don't do this spot because we'll be breaking a principle that we've just known. So we just don't do, I don't know, the double hanging move, I don't know, the double hanging piece or something like that. We can just say that, the double hanging piece. Okay, so we don't want to do that. I think you should know what I mean then, because if we go here, he can just go here, and both pieces are hanging, not the knight, but yeah, both bishops will be hanging. So that's a definite weakness, and he can take our flank as well, so definitely not good. Okay, so he's done that, and then there was a video I watched and it said you're better off taking some material than losing all 3 points. So instead of losing all 3 points, you should at least take some points. So that's what we did. We traded. So we've traded the light square bishop, and the dark square bishop is probably more important to get on this square. So long term, went the dark square bishop because of his dark square defender. So he trades and we retreat. So we decided to keep this pressure on. And we've still got here, so at this spot, and it's probably not too bad because he's still got a lot of non-active pieces. Well, his queen's probably the most active piece on the board at the moment, and he's not pretty active as well, but the other pieces are very inactive, and the rook's in an awkward position, so we did get compensation for that move. So as much as that is a blunder, it's not, there is definitely compensation for it. But in the future, I will definitely not put two hanging pieces knowingly together unless I've blundered it by mistake. But okay, so he does that move. This is the reason why I didn't do the pawn move. So the pawn would target the knight, and I figured this move was coming straight after. But the thing is, I was probably better off leaving that rook there and targeting the knight to go on like a square like this. So the next move could have been here, and I was threatening to get in check with the king and the queen. So forking between those two. So yeah, no, so that's why I didn't do it, but I ended up doing it anyway. So that plan failed. So I admit it. So the plan didn't work out well, and we lost in the trade, and we still got this position that I didn't want to get into anyway, but I did want to get into it because the piece was on the end of the board. So this was a bonus for us, but our light square bishop wasn't around, so I shouldn't have traded. So we retreat because we're defending this square, because if you didn't see it, the rook is attacking that square. Or at least I saw that. And he trades. So this is a mistake for M1keyD. When you're doing B and shadow your bishop, you don't want to ruin your defensive bishop, okay? Because as soon as you weaken this square up, you leave open with the queen or even the dark square bishop. So it's fine that he's getting rid of the dark square bishop because my dark square bishop's off the board, but he should have at least traded queens first before he decided to do this, because the queen can come down here and it's always going to be a future threat. So that's the last thing you want to do when you V and shadow the bishop. Okay, so there's been 2 errors on each other's behalf, probably a bit more than that because we are low rated players after all. Okay, so wait a sec. So he moves up here, going to this square here. This is a very good square for the queen because it's controlling so many squares. It's probably the turning point of the game, if I'd have to say. Just because it's such a powerful move. I can't really target the queen either, so if you have a look where you can target the queen, yeah, I can't target the queen in that square, so it's just a very powerful square, and he found it. I don't know if it was pure luck, or if, because sometimes what happens is when our ratings is, we do these wins because we just happen to find these squares. We don't understand the game. We don't understand how come we won. We just think, oh, we just got a good square. But the reason why that's so powerful is we can't attack it. I can't even send I can send the pawn here, but I can't even do that because the knight and the rook are working together on that side of the board. Okay, so that's why it's such a powerful move. And yeah, there's no arguing. That's probably the move of the game. That's probably what's created a game for him. Okay, he's done this move, now targeting this square and also targeting this square. Okay, so maybe I was better off keeping the rook down there, but we did have to trade, I guess. Or did I have to trade? No, I didn't have to trade. So, did we trade? Oh yeah, because we traded here. I was probably better off taking with the queen, because to keep this defense. Okay, so taking with the queen was probably a blunder on my part. I didn't do that. I took with the rook, and he moves forward, and we move the rook forward again. So he should have just went back into his place, because we were doing good until the rook actually went into that position. But it looks really good at this stage, you know, like controlling this row. It's very active rook, so there's no arguing there. But he can be a big target now, so he's being exploited. So this is the reason why he's not in a good spot, and now he's targeting there. But now we're chasing, now he's attacking us. So before we were attacking him, but ever since that trade for the bishops, even both the bishops, and when I lost my light square bishop, it's changed where he's starting to attack me now. So okay, so now he's gonna try and go down here. Possibly, I was thinking of going here and stopping, or even going in this spot and in this position, but then he had this weakness as well, so I didn't really want to open it up, so I had this here defending. So I wanted to get rid of the knight, but this is a mistake as well. I should have left the pawn here because it's controlling these squares, and also the rook was covering there. The rook isn't covering, the rook is covering the pawn there, but it's just not covering that square. So now we've given him this square, so that was another blunder on my part. And now he's attacking our rook again, so you can see how our rook is a total weakness, and now he's attacking here as well. So you can see how rook being put out too early is a weakness. Okay, so I've put the rook here hoping for this square here, and trying to put the queen on this square. So if our opponent falls asleep during, he gets so excited about his plan about counter-attacking us, we could get him in checkmate here. So we're just thinking of that, just covering the square up, or even having the queen here, and then having the rook on this square. Or even the rook goes down here, he covers, checkmate. That's what we had in mind, but if we could somehow get rid of this rook. Okay, so that's what we did. And he's got here. And he's got here as well, but we're defending. Okay, so we've moved up here, but the problem is the queen is giving up powerful squares. So when the queen was back here, he's quite powerful. The knight didn't have that square either, so we had that. We could have attacked it twice. So you can see, like, we gave away the pawn. and the pawn could have been holding everything up. Even though it's an isolated pawn, yeah, it could help that the further up an isolated pawn is the better for the aggressor. Remember that, yeah. Okay, so he takes it because we're just doing blunder after blunder now. And he's wreaking the wards for it. So, yeah, he just goes down here. So as soon as we give up, we're losing these pawns here. Because this was our strength. When we did the trades earlier, when we got all those pawns, we were definitely in a good situation. But now, since the knight's in the middle, the queen had to come back anyway. So she went up there for nothing. And yeah, it's just terrible. And now we're just going to defend. Try and block the knight. Now attacking twice. Now this was a weak move, so this was actually a bad move by my opponent, M1keyD, because we did have this check, but I didn't actually do it, which I should have. So if I went here, then there's all those moves as well. So it could have been quite interesting, especially if he moved down here, because then I'd have future checks and the knight wasn't going to stay there anyway. So I had two moves here. Could have definitely started chasing the king a lot more. But I did another rook move, so I thought I'll consolidate. So I did have the right reasoning where you put yourself in danger. You can't open up, you've got to consolidate. So close the position down and sort of have your pieces working together. That is definitely a solid plan to do. But it is too late because he's got all these pieces already lined up on my king. So he does the killing move. So he's got 3 pieces now on there. And I can't, there's nothing I can do now. So because I've blocked this square. I blocked this square with the rook. So doing that move here was definitely, it's probably one of the worst moves I did as well. So I can't even move here to get a check. So could have actually saved me, possibly, maybe not, but it was something else. So we took that away. I put the pawn up here because I expected to be driven away. That's just a retreat square. So I could have I was thinking I could have resigned in this spot. So I could have resigned back here even. When this move I was thinking resigning because I just, there's no coming back from it. But I thought I'd just play it out because we'll let our opponent have his moment, because this will be his last moment. Mark my words. The third game is mine, mate. Okay, so we get rid of it, and we have to go our own way. So this is where we're up to now, and he's probably trying to work out what to do. But yeah, the next game's mine, mate. I've got to create some principles for myself, and I'm not going to say what I'm doing until after I bet you in the next game, and then I'll explain what my secrets were of my success. Alright, and that's done, and that's the end of the video, guys, and thanks for watching. See ya.